My name is Patrick Rowland. I am a crystal meth addict. Starting out in my life, obviously, I'm gay. I didn't know that, all the time, but it seemed like people knew that from a very early age because the boys waited for me at the bus stop with rocks, and they used to throw rocks at me in kindergarten. It seemed like whatever I did, even when I tried to do the things that all the cool people were doing, for example, in third grade, Michael Jackson was really popular, and my mom bought me the red and black Thriller jacket, and I thought I was so cool because I had the Thriller jacket. Well, I wore it to school the next day, and everybody made fun of me. It seemed like no matter what I did, it bothered people, and everybody made a big deal out of me no matter what I did. So early on, I think that I was taught to live in fear and to be afraid of me and to be afraid of who I was. And that led to a lot of fear and shame and, all the things that make us addicts, I think. I will say that as I got older, I was lucky enough to kind of be embraced by older people, but I never really hung out with people that were my age, and I never really fit in. Like the fact that I would one day, be slave to a pipe in a closet in my bedroom shocks me because that's not the way that I was brought up. I was brought up on a golf course. I went to private school. I wore polo shirts. I was myself in college and people embraced me. I come back here from college and I got stuck in fear. I got stuck in being myself. I got stuck in wanting to be like everybody else and being judged and being afraid of who I was. And guess what? Things got really bad for me again. So I started drinking again when I was about 30. And around the same time, I also moved to the Twin Cities. And relationships with men are kind of what took me out ultimately because I'm not very good at it. I got in a relationship right away in the Twin Cities, and since I didn't know anybody there, that kind of was a codependent mess. And I ended up getting a really great job as the editor of a really prominent magazine here in Phoenix. I was a big deal. I used to be able to walk into a restaurant and be like, Patrick Rowland is here, and get a really good table and get seats to concerts and all kinds of stuff. And all of that really went to my head because, I'm this kid that people throw rocks at. So I don't know how to deal with that. So I meet a guy that's abusive and, it starts with verbal stuff. Pretty soon he starts beating me a lot. And, something happens to you when people beat you and hurt you is that you lose control over everything else and you start lashing out at other people. And so what happened is that I started lashing out at everyone around me. I lose that job, and in a way I'm kind of addicted to the abuse, which I know sounds crazy. And this clandestine behavior goes on for about a year and a half maybe, and everybody thinks that we're done, but we're not. And so I'm lying, and because I've never been much of a liar, all of this kind of behavior catches up to me, and the next thing I know, I decide that I'm going to start doing drugs. I decide I'm unemployed, my boyfriend beats me, I don't have anything to offer the world, I'm just going to do drugs. So I actually put up an ad on Craigslist looking for someone to teach me how to do drugs because, like I say, I'm a country club kid. I did not expect anything to come out of that, and I ended up in a relationship with this person. It was a very loving relationship and a very wonderful relationship. It was everything that I always wanted in a relationship, but it was also filled with drugs and that kind of lifestyle. We did drugs on the weekend, but then we were Ozzie and Harriet during the week. On January 7th of 2014, I woke up to go to work and I found him dead. He was not out to anyone. He never told anybody that he was gay, so therefore he never told anybody about me. And his family was not very excited to learn about my existence. In fact, I would say that they were pretty angry about it. And the very first day that he was dead, they ransacked our house and took everything out of it. They forbid me from going to the funeral. When that rite of passage of a funeral is taken away from you like that, that really messes with you, and that really messed with me. And because I wasn't allowed to mourn the way that I was supposed to, I acted out, and I didn't care anymore whether I lived or died. And I have learned, since I've been sober, there's so much grief and addiction that goes together. I think that one thing that's been really amazing for me is that I've gotten to become kind of a voice of that grief and addiction. And right around the time that I turned 40, my father has Parkinson's, and he's had that for about 4 years. My mom, at this point, this was like 2.5 years ago, she's starting to show signs of dementia. So I turned 40, woo! And I decide that I'm gonna go to Las Vegas to see Britney Spears and Mariah Carey, because who doesn't want to go on that vacation? But by this point, I'm such a mess on drugs that I spend pretty much the whole trip in my room, in my hotel room, doing drugs. I think I'd either been awake 3 or 4 days. I realized that the window on my 26th floor opens. It's the Las Vegas Strip, right? I see all these sparkly lights below me, and I want to be part of the light so much that I decide that I'm going to jump into it. But before I do, I call my mother, which I don't know why I do this, because as I mentioned, she has dementia, so I don't know what I think she's going to do for me. She's here in Phoenix. I'm in Vegas. My mother finds me. God, I assume. Within about 5 minutes, there's a knock on my door, and it's the police, paramedics. It's a whole smorgasbord of people. And I basically get Britney Speared while I'm in Vegas to see Britney Spears. I get carried out of the hotel on a stretcher, and I'm put in a hospital where I'm in that hospital for 6 days, and I start to realize that I have something to share with the world, and I have something to give to the world, and that I should fight for myself. My whole outlook on life changes in this hospital, and so I basically decide that I'm gonna live a life of purpose in this hospital. I didn't jump out of that window in Vegas, but I did learn how to fly, and even though I didn't jump into the light like I wanted to, I did become a part of the light, because I've kind of made it my mission to sparkle. So I wrote this 3 months into sobriety, and then I kind of waited a little while before I released it. And this is, this book is about my story, but it's also it's just about anyone who ever felt different or felt like they didn't belong. I want people to know that if you do come to the program and you do make it, you will find a place where you belong. No matter how broken you are, you will find your people here. And if you've had bad experiences here, just keep coming back and find the people that are your people, because you will find your people. One thing that's been a real blessing for me, that's been a surprise for me, is that I'm actually in a men's group, and I was really afraid to go into this men's group when I first came to it. It's real love, that I don't have to chase after unhealthy people. I can be okay with me, and I can do me, and I can give back to other people, and I can do all the things that I always wanted to do, like write books and be the person that I always wanted to be, because I'm not chasing something that isn't healthy. The greatest gift that you're given in sobriety is you get a chance to start over, and you get a chance to do the things that you always wanted to do, and you get a chance to sparkle. So find your sparkle, do the best you, and do the work. It is work, but if you do the work, it doesn't feel like work, because it feels good. It feels good to feel good, and you are worth it, no matter how broken you are. So keep doing the work and keep coming back.